Hello everyone, my name is Moji. You're watching a Bitcoin Bubble News channel. In the past, you would have gone to the bond market. In the past, you could get a risk-free interest rate of 5.5%. Why would you want to own gold? Why would you ever want to own Bitcoin? That is, unless there is a collapse in that market or unless those things are down 600 to 700%. But how can the US use Bitcoin? Yes, let's push for democracy, technology, new ideas, and fairness, right? No matter who you are, what color your skin is, what color your eyes are, or how tall you are, Bitcoin treats everyone the same. So you lean into that story and say things like, we're going to come up with new ways to solve this problem, which is meant to boost trust. In light of this, I believe it makes sense for El Salvador to adopt and for the US to go after it. And it makes a lot of sense that Ghana doesn't care right now. Bitcoin and Ethereum are going through a tough time right now as they adjust to changing market conditions. This is similar to how the market as a whole is still recovering. VIX, which is sometimes called the market's fear gauge, it has risen to its highest level in years, which means that investors are feeling more nervous about the economy. Investors and market experts are worried about this increased volatility, which is why they want the Federal Reserve to think about cutting rates quickly to help stabilize the market. The founder of Strike, Jack Mallers, talked to podcaster Brandon Jack recently and shared some interesting thoughts about Bitcoin's role in the current market rebound. Mallers talked about the big changes that the national debt problem caused and how they affected Bitcoin's price and popularity, showing possible future developments. He says that these changes in the economy could make Bitcoin more widely accepted faster and show how useful it is as a defense against global financial risks. Unchecked printing of money during the pandemic caused huge price increases and a crisis in the bond market that hadn't been seen since the 1800s. Because of this, buyers are looking for safe havens like Bitcoin and gold. Mallers sees Bitcoin as a revolutionary force and uses El Salvador's unique situation to argue that Bitcoin will eventually be used by everyone. The sovereign debt problem is a big part of my Bitcoin thesis for this cycle, and I've made some big price predictions. There is a debt problem because people want to buy us government debt, which is also called the bond market. In this case, record amounts of money were printed through COVID. Based on COVID, I believe that about 40% of all US dollars have been created in the last 4 years. So making too much money will cause inflation, which will make the prices of goods and services go up. There is more money out there than fried eggs, Caesar salads, Bitcoins, and homes for sale in Miami, right? Then the only way to stop that is to tighten monetary policy, which takes dollars off the market. This lowers prices because fewer dollars are on the market. That can be done by raising the interest rate, which is the cost of cash. Rates were raised as quickly as possible. The constant changing of the value of money, which is really just our time and energy in a simplified form, puts a lot of stress on the market. The national debt market and the bond market are two examples of this. This is the worst bond bear market we've seen since the middle of the 1800s. From my point of view, everything else builds on the main idea that we have never been in a worse bad market for government bonds, not since 1860. Before, you would go to the bond market. In the past, you would get a risk-free interest rate of 5.5%. Why would you want to own gold? Why would you ever want to own Bitcoin? If that market isn't in trouble or those things aren't down 60 to 70%, you need to go somewhere else. Traders realized that Japan has no interest rates, which was a big surprise. They don't have any cost of capital yet. It's possible for me to borrow money in Japan instead of the US, exchange the yen for dollars, and then use the dollars to buy assets and hide in them. That's why you see gold and Bitcoin reaching new highs even though interest rates are high and the real estate market not falling apart. These are signs that Nvidia and the S&P 500 are still doing very well. Even though rates are high, times are still expensive, there was still a lot of push to buy assets. That amount of change is why I and a lot of other people have promised to use Bitcoin. It seems like it could change the world in a huge way. And it seems so normal to adopt it. Start with the idea that you are always better off working with Bitcoin than against it, no matter who you are. So it makes sense that everyone ends up on Bitcoin's team. That's why it doesn't surprise me. When someone says, "Aren't you shocked that guy likes Bitcoin?" No, since normal people are smart. They should like Bitcoin because it's good for them. I really like the safe quote, "Bitcoin will be used like gunpowder." Those of you who don't accept it will be hurt by it. I believe that as a Bitcoiner you need to rip off the bandage, print, and just say, you know what, we messed up. Let's start a new era. But do I really believe that will happen? Not at all. Do I think that my old school friends who don't have Bitcoin would love that? I don't know. I think they'd be eaten up overnight. So I don't think that reality is worth a lot of money. One interesting thing about El Salvador is that they don't have their own currency. They had a terrible civil war because of this. I think everyone knows what El Salvador is now, but some of the history that led them to accept Bitcoin might not be as well known. There was a terrible civil war, and they lost their own money. They were on the dollar then. That gives them an edge when it comes to using something like Bitcoin, since they don't have to give up their own money machine. Bitcoin is the best example of a currency losing value. You should buy Bitcoin if you want to profit from the value of your money going down, if you want to put an option on the current system, if you want to be long volatility and long chaos, and if you want to make money off of crazy. So that's what I think. It doesn't matter what I think, it's great, and I believe this plan is based on sound reasoning. Why am I here? I'm borrowing money for something that will only lose value. When I buy something that will only go up in value, I'm saving it. We are a business that makes money. Every day we stack. A lot of our income comes in Bitcoin, and every month we add up our cash flows. I mean, the way I run Strike, we treat it like two separate business lines. We have our own business, and we know that people buy and sell Bitcoin with us. A lot of different things are done with Bitcoin and us. We have fees. We get paid for it. The world gives us more than it takes from us, so I believe that making money is more of a moral duty than a financial one. You give more to the world than you take. Of course, you're making the world a better place if you give people more things and services they want than they take from you. That's why it's been important to us. That makes our buyers feel like they can trust us and know that we're not going anywhere. We plan to stay here for a long time. We are a business that can last and will continue to do so. We don't depend on investment or anything else. Even if you gave me $1 billion, I wouldn't hire anyone with it, but I would use it tomorrow. What should I do? It would cost me $1 billion to buy Bitcoin. If capital is worth something, it's backed by time and energy. It can make you more money and work for you. You can store it, put it under your mattress, and tomorrow it will be worth more than it was today. It changes everything, so we only hire when we need to. Our only goal is to please our customers. We care most about our customers. We care a lot about people who use Bitcoin. The fact that we are like Bitcoiners is one of the things I think sets us apart. As far as I can tell, Coinbase doesn't like Bitcoin Core or Bitcoiners or the Lightning Hour. I don't know, customer attention, low time preference. Since Bitcoin makes it possible for us to do what makes sense, we do it. It would be a much more interesting question if I had to build this business without Bitcoin and it was all about growth. I don't know what it would be like. We are going to try to make it happen. You'd have to think of something crazy. This is what you need to know about Strike, man. I was very early to Lightning when I started it. I thought Lightning wasn't getting enough attention or investment. Still do. We're still seeing natural growth in our Lightning goods, but the market broke down. The bear market in 2022 threw a lot of 2023 off.